The other big piece of news from this period is what appears to be Lex Luger's push as seemingly the next big star of the company. He'd win the Stars and Stripes Challenge by slamming Yokozuna on July 4th, 93 on the USS Intrepid. Jim, what did you make of the whole thing with Lex Luger?
That was like a big, huge sword stabbing me in the heart. I felt like a fish out of water. I was flopping around, man. I was like, holy shit. It's an Intrepid. It's a big, huge helicopter. It's Yokozuna that I had to really work my ass off just to knock off his feet. Lex gets off, jacked up Lex with red and white and blue and all kinds of fancy dance stuff on. And boom, he crushes Yoko. I'm like, well, I might be looking for a job. But you know what? With all the bells and all the whistles, nobody in our business, or very few, have carried the flag like Hacksaw Jim Duggan. Because it wasn't because some promoter said, "Hey, Hacksaw, why don't you carry the flag?" It's because I made the decision that I want to honor our flag and I wanted to carry Old Glory all over the world. And that's why I carry, and that's why the gimmick worked. People, well, that's a hell of a character. And then I ain't a character. Hacksaw Jim Duggan is Jim Duggan. You know, it's
Yep.
the deal. So yeah, Lex, anybody put Hogan under a red, white, and blue mask, the Patriot, whoever you want to go out there, let them yell USA. Put Hacksaw Jim Duggan in the second turnbuckle with a flag up in the air, chanting USA, USA. You know it's coming from the fucking heart.
Absolutely, dude. There's a major, major difference between the way that we were seeing Lex Luger carry that flag and the way that Jim Duggan carried that flag. Lex
Yeah,
Luger,
well,
forced
I got a little fired up there, brother. Wait.
it was great. It was great, and it's true because I've come to
Yeah,
know you here over the years, and I know you're a real patriot. And Lex Luger is like he was told
well,
to wear
Lex a
that
good
flag.
guy, and I'm sure he's
Yeah,
honored to carry the flag, but that's their gimmick. No, that was a conscious decision that I wanted to carry. And when WWF first started going overseas, everybody's like, what are you going to do? That I'm going to carry our flag overseas, and I'm going to stand in the middle of the ring, and I'm going to chant USA, USA. So you guys ask JBL, because he was in Germany, and he comes back and he goes, I can't believe it. Everybody in the arena is chanting USA. Because even those folks know it wasn't they were chanting necessarily the USA, but I think they saw the passion, and
yep.
they were with me on that. And many people couldn't believe I could chant USA. Nowadays, maybe not so much. But back then, West, I saw the Berlin Wall was still there. We went to Checkpoint Charlie. The Russians had their tanks pointed at us. It wasn't that long ago. People don't realize.
Incredible. And I've seen the footage from these house shows in Europe, and every audience that I've seen you chant USA in front of chants it with you, no matter
They
what
get
country
with
you're
me. Yeah, they do amazingly. And I am humbled by it and always give them a bow and thank you at the end of the matches. And it means so much. And Mark, as you were at this past week, people come up and talk to me. It's amazing. It's humbling the effects that wrestling has had on folks. They come up with pictures of their mom or their dad or their grandmom, and my grandma could do up with anything, but once wrestling was on,
in.
and it was a family affair, and that's why I love doing these personal appearances, Comic Cons and stuff, and tell the folks they come up and say, "Hey, thank you, Hacksaw." I'm like, "No, thank you, man."
Man, it was incredible watching you interact with fans here in Pittsburgh and getting to hear their stories because I did get to hear people say like I used to watch with my dad, and it's like stuff that it's
Yeah,
I tell Jake this stuff all the time too. Like you guys kind of for some people become almost like surrogate father figures in many ways. Like they look up to you and they look to what you have to say as like sort of their moral basis. So it's just a really cool thing to witness in person.
so, it's amazing. Yeah, like I said, it's humbling, and it's of course not just in this country; it's around the world.
Yep.
Like I said, with the NFL guys, world champions. Where in the world do you boys go? Well, we went to London. I'm like, that's
So,
like going to the West Coast. You went to London.
yeah, it's now
It says
Mexico.
nobody knows Tom Brady down in Christchurch, New Zealand, but they'll go, oh,
Yep,
I've got a
they know
couple of New
Hacksaw.
Zealand folks watching this podcast.
The interesting thing about Lex here in this position is he was sort of brought in to replace Hulk Hogan as like the guy, right? The big muscly baby face. But as you said, he ended up sort of being a replacement for Jim Duggan as well.
Yeah.
Which is and that's not the only thing that he had heat for. Apparently, he was doing this thing, the Lex Express, where he's going around the country on a
Oh,
private
the
bus.
bus. Yeah, they put a lot of money into Lex and all that, you know. And if you look, sometimes I got tape holding my flag on my flagpole. You know,
Yeah,
they got the Lex Express and the helicopter and all that. I'm like, yeah, well, maybe they put just a little bit more into my character, but of course,
could have
I
gotten
like I
over
we've
more.
talked
Yeah,
before, yeah. But yeah, I don't see him ever replacing Hogan. Hulkster's. There's always somebody that can replace you because back in the day, there'll never be another Bruno Sammartino. Boom, there's Hulk Hogan. There'll never be another Hulk Hogan. Boom, there is Stone Cold. There'll never be another Stone Cold. Boom, there's Cena. The
yeah.
business is bigger than any one talent. But yeah, I think Lex had trouble filling my shoes. There's no way he was going to fill Hogan's.
Oh, not even close filling your shoes. Like I said, it's like, he's coming out there with the flag, but man, what a different presentation he had. And I do want to talk about the Lex Express a little bit because, Jim, this is during a period when you guys were paying for your own rental cars. A lot of you were really struggling, sleeping in, terrible, shitty hotels along the way. And here's Lex. He's got his own private bus with a bed in it, and it's all paid for. Doesn't have to do any of that stuff. I mean, stuff like that has got to get you heat behind the scenes with the boys.
Well, how about your buddy you just got done talking to? Theodore DiBiase, the $1 million man. Holy shit. I can't go to New York. I don't have a gimmick. What am I going to be? I don't know. Jake the Snake, Junkyard Dog, Hacksaw Dog, and I'm Ted DiBiase. Let's see. Oh, how about the $1 million man? And of course, Ted would never give you this shit about being the $1 million man when you're working your way back to coach and he's sitting there in first class. Not that he'd ever give you the business, you know. I wonder why you got potatoes so often. Now, there's a
Man,
few guys like that, you know. And the deal was, yeah, the bread wasn't great, but it wasn't bad. I mean, you know, as Bobby Heenan said, it's better than moving refrigerators at Sears. And you know, and plus it's what you did with it. A lot of guys thought they believed it. You know, I learned in Mid South when they had, that's the red Lincoln Continental that was wrecked in the big huge wreck.
yeah.
I bought that. A week later, I won it in Shreveport at a battle royal. So Bill Watts knew I bought a new car. He says, "Hey, have I got a great idea? We'll put your car up. Winner gets the new car." I won my own car at a battle royal.
boy, boy, that's
Yeah.
something, huh?
I mean, I sold it. Oh my God. Oh my God. It's like, yeah, it's a $10,000 battle royal. Shit.
And then it's in
There's
pieces
50
on a
people in
bridge.
the building. What the hell are you talking about? $10,000 battle royal. But some guys believe their own bullshit. They think it's going to last forever. You know what helped me is I had that big head when I was a football player. You know, I said, well, I had that one year with the Falcons. I was getting paid, even though I was an injured reserve all season. I still got paid. You know, and I'm like, oh shit! I got a credit card. I had my razor cut hair with gold chains. Disco Jim back in the '70s, right? And I ran up huge debt. And I learned a hard lesson. It took me a long time to dig out. So once I became a wrestler, you know, one of the first things I did when I started making money was I bought a little starter home in Louisiana. And, you know, instead of buying a Mercedes or a Rolex, maybe buy a little house.
Something you can
And,
put
you
equity
know,
into.
it's like drugs. All these guys, you know, like I said, I've been in the business 40 years. I never had to go to rehab for booze or drugs. Deborah and I've been together, 40 years. I put two daughters through school. If the guy struggles and becomes an asshole and has to go to rehab, all the booze and drugs, and they kill him, that's his decision. It's not the business. There's a lot of success stories in our business. If the guys can't control themselves, I can't throw no stones. I never did any drugs. Shit, A to B, Z, A to Z, A to B. I wish it was just A to B. A to Z, man. I mean, it was the '80s. We were more like a rock and roll band than you were a sports team. Drugs were fun and sex wouldn't kill you.
It was part
Again,
of the
it's just a
the culture.
herpes. It's just herpes sore.
Part of the culture at the time. It was doing drugs and being like a
Yeah, but
maniac
no
out there on the
excuse.
road.
But don't say, well, the wrestling made me do it. If you get caught up in that, and the business led itself to that, though, because you're in front of thousands of people, the place is rocking, you're out there chanting, everybody love you, clapping you on the back. Boom, you're in your hotel room.
Got to do something to come down.
Yeah, I'll go down to the bar. What? It's 5 o'clock. Holy shit!
And you guys weren't allowed to smoke weed. They were pee testing you guys back in those days. Like
Oh,
if they would have.
that was before the testing, man. Now that was before testing.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
shit. You'd come into the dressing room sometimes. It looked like a terrorist just came through. Everybody's laying on the floor and got a towel over their head. God, I miss the old days.
Man, it was wild. The
A
Wild
lot of
West
lot of
is an
partying,
understatement.
yeah. But then that's why a lot of guys got a cup in that lifestyle. That's why there's a high death rate, high drug and alcoholism rate, and a high divorce rate. It's a tough business.
Certainly was, and is to this day. Things are a little bit different nowadays for the
Oh
guys
shit,
working
are
on
you
top,
kidding? A
though.
little different. Everybody's got their own bus. Forget right. Back then, like you said, there was, you had to pay for how many guys would stay in the room. We have three
Yep.
guys in the car, one guy go. Just one guy staying in the room. Everybody else be in the car hiding.
Nowadays, everybody's living
Sleep.
that Lex Luger
Yeah,
lifestyle.
well, that's cool. But looking back at it, Marcus, Mid South, we were all a lot closer back then. You'd all be in the car, you'd be driving together. Hey, how about if I try this with that, and you do this, and then the guy in the back seat, and then I'll do this. And Robert Gibson said, "No, wait," and then we'll do that. And you put together a whole match, and it was a good time. It was a good time in the business. Hard, a lot of driving, but I enjoyed it. I've enjoyed the business since I've been in it.
Well, when you
I've
leave.
enjoyed life as long as I've been in it, I think. Especially with all these health issues. Enjoy it while you can, baby.